And just I want to have a recording of this class. We're going to kind of talk a little bit more about just the subtle body, or not talk about, but just kind of practice getting a little closer awareness of sensation. And um, the subtle body is basically our way of attuning more closely to ourselves, attuning more closely to to sensation in the body. And so we get a little more connected. And so you always have the option of just being paying attention to your whole body, your physical body, rather than more subtle sensation. So do what's right for you. So why do we want to attune to the subtle body? We This gives us a chance to kind of release more deeper held tension, um, physical and emotional, psychic tension, mental tensions. So if you feel like it, you can attune to something a little more subtle as we quiet the mind. So. So let's just come into our comfortable or our easy seated posture, Sukhasana, or whatever your easy seated posture is. That might be straight legs, it might be in a chair, it might be um, just cross legged, whatever that is. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, just kind of feel it. Maybe hold it at the top for just a pause. Let it out through the mouth slowly like a sigh. It can almost be like a let's try that breath a few times just to kind of start to, attune, right? A little closer. So let's just breathe in nice and deep through the nose and hold it for a moment, right? Maybe up to the crown of the head. And just let it out with a sighing breath with a ha sound. Maybe one more like that. And just pausing for a moment, just dropping into this Thursday morning body. Maybe closing the eyes. Kind of let your consciousness settle. Maybe settling down to the base of your body. Much time is spent in our thoughts and in our head. And once we come down to our legs and our feet, we feel them touch the earth. We start to utilize the rest of our nervous system. So we come down and we ground and we find the base of our body. We might even move into and notice just being seated on the perineum. So that's the pelvic floor, or the space between the sitting bones and the pubic bone, which should be grounded in our posture here. So our pelvis is upright and our spine is tall. And then slowly just taking your awareness a little higher up the spine. We might find the lower tip of the sacrum, the base of the spine. Just kind of take your awareness into the low belly and take a breath or two if you like, just kind of noticing here. Maybe just the space around the hips and below the navel. If there's held tension or tightness, if it's soft and at ease. And just coming up a little bit around the solar plexus. So from the middle spine, just around the lower rib area and the solar plexus, and just taking a breath. See if your midsection feels soft or at ease, or how you even feel about being in attunement with these subtle sensations today. Maybe you're not quite ready for that. That's okay. I just kind of notice where you're at this morning. Just taking a few breaths. And coming up the spine between the shoulder blades, just finding the upper back, kind of this place right between the facets of the vertebrae, between the shoulder blades, and then just around the rib cage, maybe around to the front of the chest. Just taking a few breaths, just kind of see how your awareness settles in around the heart center. You soften any patterns of tension as you breathe in and breathe out, or coming up to the collarbones, the neck, the throat, the shoulders, the jaw. And taking several breaths, almost as if you breathe in and out from the throat pit, as if breathing in through the throat pit and out again. And this area soften a little bit. And coming up, and just taking your attention lightly to the forehead, and the space between the eyebrows there, and then straight back to the center of the brain. And as you close your eyes and just rest into that space, maybe you see that dark space behind your eyelids for a moment. Just kind of see, is there tension or ease? Good. Coming up to the crown of your head. If that doesn't feel too accessible, that can be kind of hard. You can kind of tap with your fingertips, just kind of feel the space there. You want just kind of feel the ridge of your cranium, where that is. A couple breaths there. So these are just centers of our that contain centers of energy in our body. Just kind of moved up through the chakras, kind of noticing different areas we can hold tension. Good. We're just going to take a breath that kind of flows upwards. Let's see how that feels. We bring our hands to our heart. Start to connect with a deeper breathing by first taking our hands right up the center, breathing in and exhaling, letting them float out, down, and around. Breathing through the nose, just deep breathing, inhaling up our center. It's like we're following right up the central channel of our spine. And exhaling out, maybe clearing out any residual tensions or tensions around us that maybe we want to kind of clear out any some negativity or just whatever it is this morning. Coming back to our light. Take a few more breaths like that. So nice deep breath in. This helps us lengthen our spine up too, right? It helps to start to create some space between the vertebrae and send our energy upwards, but we're staying connected to earth. So the base of our body is pressing downwards, right? So our sitting bones down, but our spine lifts. Maybe one more breath like that. Good. Now just pause, right? See how you feel. Gentle with ourselves and noticing. So as we shift our shape, we'll come down onto our back. And hopefully you have either a block or a pillow that you can use for between your knees. Sort of come, well, first have that block next to you and just take a full body stretch, right? Right, really now lengthening out that spine, right? So pressing through your heels, reaching through your fingertips. And your body is your own, right? So your practice is your own. So you're exploring in a way that feels useful to you today. And just really becoming gentle and compassionate with whatever's here. So whatever comes up, we're holding it in compassion. So let's press through our right heel, reach through our right fingertips. So we're really lengthening out that right side body. And as you exhale, switch to the left side and press through the left heel and reach through the left fingertips. And maybe just go back and forth a few times, right? So there's a lot of shifting around your sacral area and lumbar spine, right? The lower back. Good. And then with a nice deep breath, reach through both heels and fingertips overhead, neutral spine, inhale. As you exhale, float the arms down and bend your knees. Good. Taking care of your back today. And we're going to start by a real grounded practice because we're going to bring our attention to the base of our body. So bringing the block between your knees and your feet flat on the floor, arms out to a T, right? So just starting to feel a sense of connection to the pelvic floor. So we're going to have our feet close enough that we can squeeze the block with our knees. But I want you to feel that squeeze coming all the way up into the upper heads of the femur bones. So as if you're squeezing the whole length of your femur bones, your upper leg bones towards each other, and you'll start to feel the tailbone slightly curl under when you're squeezing, and then into the pelvic floor. So see if you can kind of feel that pelvic floor just draw in and up slightly. And then on the in breath, just soften a bit and release. And as you're exhaling, squeezing the block all the way up the length of the femur bones until the coccyx or the tailbone starts to lift a little bit and the pelvic floor starts to tone. And you may not feel this at first. If there's weakness in the pelvic floor, it can be hard to connect. So we'll do this about maybe 4 more times. So breathing in and breathing out, squeezing the block as you exhale. riding that exhalation up into the pelvic floor. And then on the in breath, the softening, just as important, releasing through the pelvic floor. And the exhale, connecting to that tone. So this is Mula Bandha, so Muladhara chakra, the energy center at the base of our body, right? And it relates to the nerve endings that come out of the base of the spine. So we want to relate it to our nervous system here. And so let's take one more exhalation, squeezing that block. And then releasing and relaxing. We'll set the block aside for a moment. Just bring the bottoms of your feet together and your knees out to the side. So recline bound angle pose. And just a few breaths here. Oh, right, pausing and recline bound angle. Arms can be out to the side or even overhead. Pressing the bottoms of your feet together as you exhale. And then as you inhale, just let them soften a bit. Let the legs relax. And then as you exhale, gently press the bottoms of your feet together, and you'll probably feel a little more of that pelvic floor activation. Good. If it's too much on your joints, you could place blocks under your knees or pillows under your knees if that's too much in the hip joints. Let's take one more breath in to relax the hip joints. And then exhale, press the feet together. Kind of connect to your pelvic floor if you can, feeling that connection. And then just soften and pause for a breath or two, just relaxing. Good, just kind of letting the life force energy fill this area of our body. If it felt disconnected, we kind of come back to it. Good, so we'll bring our knees back up to neutral. And still with awareness of that pelvic floor, let's bring our block back again, place it between the knees, and now we're going to our hold our get my words out today, our block and legs up into a table here, so our shins level with the floor, and then just link your hands, cradle the cranium in the hands, and we'll press the upper arm bones back. So we're really grounded in our upper body. We're going to slowly just take our legs to the side. So we'll go to the left, exhaling, squeezing the block. Inhale to center. Exhale to the other side. And continue to squeeze the block. And we're not lowering all the way, because I want you to continue to feel that support from the pelvic floor. So there's a squeeze, inhale to center, exhale, drop to the right. Right, continue to squeeze the upper leg bones together. We'll do this a few more times. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Good, and we'll come all the way back, pause. You could straighten the legs if that's available to you. Squeeze the block a little bit more. Last one, just to hold. We're going to lift the chest, the shoulders, the head, reaching the arms by our sides. So you can pause there if it's available. Just hold for a moment. Slight lift of the tailbone off the floor. Taking several breaths. really good for back support too. So good. So you'll feel all that energy going down into the those deep core muscles, and go ahead and release and just set the block aside. Let your knees fall inward towards each other and take constructive rest for a moment. Pause, totally release the inner thighs and groin and pelvic floor. Good. So you kind of got in touch with the base of our spine, our pelvic floor, nervous system, and lower chakras. Noticing your breath. And let's bring our feet back in. And we're going to take our pelvic tilting, starting to add on a little contraction of the low belly to our pelvic floor squeeze. So we're going to get a little more into that the second area energy center around the hips to the base of the spine. So here on our in breath, we're going to soften our belly, and there's just a slight lift. I'm going to move my shirt. So just an exaggeration of the lumbar curve, right? So our tailbone's still on the floor. And then as you exhale, we're going to press the back down into the floor, contracting pubic bone towards navel. So we're really contracting that low belly and pressing into your feet. I want you to kind of feel that tuck of the tailbone where our pelvic floor is engaged as well. If you want to bring the block back, you can use the block still between the knees. So in breath, arching the back, right? But tailbone's on the floor. So, and then exhale, press the back down into the floor and feet into the floor, tailbone curls under, pubic bone towards navel. And then inhale and release. And so we're going to just do those pelvic tilts, right? So we're really bringing our concentration deep into that low belly and pelvic floor. So we'll do about 3 more breaths. And as you do that, see if you can extend out your exhalations. So you're really feeling that contraction inward. We're hugging in the belly and the pelvic floor. And then on the inhale, we're releasing both. We're expanding and relaxing. Good. We'll just pause, right? Your arms can be out at a T or wherever you're comfortable. I kind of sometimes use my hands to feel the abdomen contracting, but we're going to relax for a moment and just receive, right? Receive that life force into your core, receiving whatever heat or tingling sensations are there. And we'll add on a little bit to this by adding on a lift of the hips into hip bridge. So we're going to press into our feet. This is going to be the third step. And then lower the hips as you exhale. So 4-part pelvic tilt. So breathing in. So we're going to come back to the beginning. So arching the back, right? So it's arch, tailbones on the floor, exhale. Press the back down into the floor. Inhale, now the hip bridge, step 3. And exhale, hips return to the floor. Good. Let's do those 4 steps. So arching the back, breathing in. Exhale, press the back down into the floor. Inhale, lift the hips high. Exhale, lower the hips down. And again, lifting the lumbar spine, arching. Exhale, pressing the back down into the floor, tucking the tailbone. Inhale, lifting the hips high. Exhale, lowering the hips down. And pause. Let's stay right there for a moment. Right, softening the area around the hips, the belly, the glutes. Yeah, so we bring life force, this prana or energy, by squeezing and releasing. We bring in that life force energy. So we're going to bring our hands by our sides and start to really bring it up further in our spine. So on the in breath, well, let's first take Apanasana. We're just going to get a little stretch here. This helps. So bringing the right knee into the chest and slide your left leg out. So as you lengthen that left leg and draw the right femur bone into the belly, taking 3 breaths here. So we're just kind of stretching those deep back muscles, the psoas, which will help us with our back bending. Just kind of watching what comes up here. Good. And on the in breath, let's bring both knees into the chest. And a little rock side to side. So let's roll right over the tailbone, the sacrum. Massaging that lower back a little bit, maybe the glutes. And coming back to neutral, hug the left knee into the chest and slide the right leg out. Good. So you can see, is this side different, right? Is it tighter in the back or tighter in the hip flexors, or just more tension, which can be deep within that psoas muscle, which is thought to be almost an emotional organ, that lower back muscle of the psoas. So 3 breaths as we lengthen the right heel away from the groin and the left femur bone into the belly. And just discovering your soft inhale and exhale through the nose. Hearing that sound of your breath. And let's bend both knees, place them flat again. Good. So heels right straight out from the sitting bones. Arms at your side. And we're going to have an action of spinning the palms up as we lift, as we come into our hip bridge, and then rolling the palms back down. So if you try just the arms for a moment, you're spinning the upper arm bones outwards, you notice your shoulder blades kind of slide down your back, and then spin the palms in. So as we start to curl up, so we're going to start to tuck our tailbone here and find each facet of the spine. So we're tucking the tailbone rolling up slowly. And as you're doing that, just spinning the palms upwards, right? So when you get to the top of your spine, your palms are facing the ceiling and your shoulder blades are kind of tucked down and under. And so pausing here for a moment, take a breath. Right, so we're really kind of the center of our tension might be around our glutes and our hamstrings, really supporting it. But we're also moving up the spine into the muscles that support the chest. So take one more breath and then we can slowly start that descent down the spine. So maybe you can locate, just kind of mentally locate, right, each vertebrae. You might not be able to isolate each one. We're going to roll down slow and then turn the palms in as you do till you get down to the tailbone. And take a breath and just relax. Good. And then pause, purposeful pause, right? Really a chance to feel the more subtle sensations. And then we'll take that one more time. So tucking the tailbone, slowly rolling up, turning the palms upwards, rotating the upper arm bones back, slowly moving into your highest point of your hip bridge, keeping your feet flat. So don't let the knees rock out or in, right? Maintaining that stability. And maybe stay there for a couple breaths if that's accessible to you today. Right, and as you start your descent down, and you roll the upper arm bones in, you find each vertebrae, right? See how you're coming into the whole nervous system, the whole length of the spine. And we'll come all the way back down. Pause at the bottom. If it feels all right, stretch your legs out and just take a full body stretch again. Nice deep breath in. Good. As you exhale, maybe squeeze your legs into your chest, both knees in, and a little rock side to side. Good. Just rolling over the spine. Now we'll take our roll all the way over onto hands and knees. So if you need to, get a little padding for your knees if you need to give a little more kind, gentle attention for those knees. We'll just be here briefly, not too long. And so coming into your table and spreading your hands nice and wide, and we're gonna, find this stable base, right? So spin your upper arm bones out, just like we did in our hip bridge. Want to spin those upper arm bones out. Our hands will be flat, but you want to feel like this is rotating out, right? Because that's going to connect you to flat scapula on your back. Good. Press your shin bones down. And let's find more of our spine here. So more spinal movement through some cat and cows. And we'll take our in breath and just look forward, breathing in. And our exhale to round the spine. I want you to really focus here on the pelvis, though, because we're going to take that exhalation all the way up to the solar plexus. Maybe you're tucking pubic bone towards the navel, navel towards sternum, and you find that connection to the solar plexus all the way up. So just one more like that. So breath in and breath out. So now we're starting to get into that third energy center, Manipura chakra. And we're tucking our tailbone, we're hugging our belly, and all the way up to the solar plexus. And then breathing in. And pause. Good. Shifting your weight into your right hand and left shin. We're going to come into spinal balance. So left arm, right leg extends. And you can just find this for a moment. Right? Your toe could be on the floor or you could lift the leg. Now cross balancing, so supportive in our midsections. We keep that support system. And we're really hugging in around the lower ribs and taking a few breaths, right? So here, bringing that bit of attention to the midsection. And then exhale, lower the left hand, cross the leg behind you, and let's just kind of look towards that foot. Swing your right hip out to the side. Yeah, so just taking, call it wagging the tail. So we're looking towards the left foot as it crosses behind us, C shape with the spine. Take a breath. And then coming back to center and lower that knee down. Good. Shifting weight into left hand and right shin. Slide your left leg out and your right arm into spinal balance. Good. So really here, possibly lifting the leg. 3 breaths. We start to really hug in around the ribs and support our back. The arm is reaching as if reaching for the, something way across the room. Our fingertips plugging in and our heel extending the leg. One more breath. Good. Touching that with the right hand down, cross the leg behind and take a little look towards that left foot. And a few breaths as we start to move into that more space between the lower rib and hip bone on the left side, right? Our solar plexus. And coming back to neutral with our knees and maybe sitting back into child's pose, extended child's pose, or if you need to be for your knees, you might be up in downward puppy. So with the hips high. Good. So whichever version you're in, see if you can just come back to your breathing, right? So we just did some connection to our core area and just kind of letting that go, letting the breath move into that midsection. Good. And the in breath coming all the way up. And let's just take a little movement around, circling the rib cage. So we're starting to kind of slide our way through the spine. So this kind of looks like a basket roll. So our ribs, kind of slide your ribs out to the right and then drop the ribs down and then to the left and then lifting the back ribs up. Now, it might not have a lot of movement for you, but you could just, in your mind, imagine and take whatever subtle movement works for you. So just feeling, it's as if we're feeling around the intercostal muscles of the ribs, right? Breathing in, breathing out, right? Seeing what tensions might be around that area of the body. And if you want, you could reverse it and try the other direction. It's kind of exploring that barrel roll. All right, I kind of like to really feel those back ribs up to and behind the shoulder blades, because it's an area that can be super tense for many people. Good, and last one, we'll circle around. Go ahead and just pause. Let's go ahead and come into, come all the way up to standing. Then we'll come into Tadasana, mountain pose. Right, so we're lifting, lengthening up through the crown, rooting down through our feet. Okay, so let's take a moment to just lift again. So we're grounded, we're lifting our toes and pressing down through the balls of the feet, spreading the toes, centers of the heels, press down. There's earth, right? Root down through the legs, rise up through your central channel. So you might close your eyes and kind of imagine, find that sense of strength that rises up through the tailbone. We brought our attention there, up the spine, through the diaphragm, right? As our rib cage lifts off our hip bones, up through the spine and the neck core. So we're going to bring our neck, our chin back slightly, and you'll feel those muscles connect behind the ears and down into the collarbones. Good. Spin your palms forward and take a breath. And then moving up into the center of the heart. So we'll smile into our heart space as we take a side bend. So we're going to step our feet wide and arms out to a T. And just turn your toes towards the right. So we're coming into a warrior two. Good. So grounded through our legs. You want to feel downward. So we're grounded there. Left hand to your back thigh, right arm reaching up. So here's where we come into heart chakra. So right rib cage. Few breaths here. Right, as you maybe lean back or lean away or reach up like you're going to pull a piece of fruit off the tree, right? Reaching for that apple off the tree. But then, how is our breath in this right lung? This is, do the intercostals have space to breathe? Can we fill the whole right rib cage with the breath? Good, and we'll come all the way back. Warrior two. Maybe shift into triangle, straighten that leg, the right leg, reach through the spine, slide that right arm to the thigh or the shin. You don't have to go too low, right? To really feel that we're extending the spine, lengthening out. Now that left hand, when you're ready, could come up to the sky, straight up, And then on the breath in, maybe we reach it up next to the ear and exhale the arm back to the sky. Inhale. Right, we're breathing the left rib cage here and exhale. Subtle muscles. Maybe we even feel behind the scapula. Good. Can you start to feel that energy in your body? Let's reach with that left arm and come on back up. And turn our toes straight and pause. Good. Take a moment to breathe. Maybe notice, place your hands around your side ribs. Right. Feel your aliveness in your body. And we'll turn our toes to the left. Coming into warrior two again, bending that left knee, strong and tall in your spine, right? So the energy flow from base to crown is always conducting. So from brain to each bundle of nerves in our spine, we want good conduction. So here we're working on the brachial plexus, cardio plexus of nerves, right? Which is the heart chakra. We're going to come into our reverse warrior. So left arm reaches out, reaches for that apple on the tree. And then our awareness into the left rib cage, maybe 3 breaths. See how you feel about this side. It might feel totally different, right? Maybe this breath doesn't quite move into this side of the ribs or something. What is the difference? And then shifting into triangle, shift your hips back. Right arm slides overhead. Good. Legs still strong. We don't want to collapse into our joints. We want to have full support in all parts. So our breath in might bring our upper arm next to our ear. And exhale, arm up again. Right, so you're feeling activity in the right side ribs here, right lung space, the heart chakra. Good, maybe hold for one more breath. Arm extended, heart space wide open, spine long. And then reach to come back up. And turn your toes straight. And we'll step in and pause. Come back to your mountain pose. Maybe close your eyes. Taking 3 to 4 breaths. Maybe start to feel some of that energy working its way up, even to the area of the throat, the collarbones, the shoulders. Good. So let's start to kind of roll our shoulders, right? Breathing in, lifting our shoulders up. Exhaling, rolling our shoulders back and down. Good. Nice and slow with your breath. And pause, and we'll step wide again. And moving that energy up into our shoulders, we're going to take a little from Qigong, just arm circles. So just reaching the right arm across. And we're just going to take big arm circles. If it feels right, just circling around on the exhale, bringing the arm back down. Inhale, feeling the prana flow. So that just means connecting our breath with the movement. Taking the head with the arm, we could start to watch the hand, circling it around. So we're using our neck, we're using our jaw area, we're bringing that connection into further up our body, into our throat. Good. And then this next one, just reaching up, we're going to turn our toes to the left, bend the left knee coming into side angle. So we'll bring our left forearm to the thigh, right arm up and over next to the ear. So left forearm to left thigh, pressing back, reaching right arm up next to the ear if that's accessible. Taking several breaths. And the thigh bone is pressing into the forearm into the thigh bone, spinning the right rib cage up. Maybe turning the chin towards the bicep. So we'll come on back up. Pause. Turn your toes parallel. Feel that side. Several breaths just to notice. Maybe you feel more of that energy in your right shoulder, right side of your neck. Just feeling that. And we'll turn our toes to the right slightly and left arm across the body. Let's take some arm circles, breathing in, touching the prana around you. So prana is not just in us, it's around us. So the in-breath, we scoop it from our environment. It's great to do this outside and bring it back into ourselves. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Maybe notice if this side feels a little less connection, maybe it has more sensation. Good. And we're going to go ahead and keep our toes to the right, bending our knee, warrior two, coming into bend, side angle. So right forearm to right thigh, left arm coming up by the ear. Pause. Connecting upper leg bone to forearm. We're going to give a bit of a squeeze there. Maybe turn your cheek towards your bicep. And a few breaths. Reach with that left arm. Come on up. Step into Tadasana. Sensing, feeling, noticing. So we take our breath. Inhale and exhale. And it might be a bit of an ujjayi breath. So we feel that sound, now snoring sound in the back of our throat. So we're moving into that throat awareness here. There's a slight closing of the glottis. So we breathe in and we breathe out. And we get a bit of a ha in the back of the throat, just soft snoring. And let's take one more standing posture. So we'll just step wide again, toes parallel. Spinning the upper arm bones back and down. Now you might use a strap for this one. Wide-legged forward bend with chest expansion. So if you know your shoulders are a little tighter, it's good to use a strap. So you can hold the strap about hip width apart and step wide and spin your upper arm bones back. Slide the scapula down your back, the shoulder blades, and then hinge at your hips. So we're going to come forward into that wide-legged forward bend and just lift the arms off the back as best you can, and then tuck the chin in, right? So we're going to dip the chin towards the sternum and draw it back towards us. So you feel a connection to the back of your neck. And then breathe. If this feels okay, bend your knees deeply and let your breath just allow you a presence here. So maybe 3 to 5 breaths. Hearing that soft snoring sound in the back of your throat. Lowering the arms back to your back. And you could walk your hands forward, and we'll just take this right into a spinal twist. So just now, last posture. And so we'll just bringing the left hand to the block or the floor, whichever works for you, and spin the right arm out to the side. So right side ribs rotating up. And maybe take a gaze upwards. If that's accessible, look up towards your hand. If not, you can look down. You could experiment with the head a little bit. Could even experiment with the arm if it feels like too much. Just one more breath. And then bringing that arm back down. Good. Staying long in your spine. Little bend in your knees. We'll swing the left arm out to the side, rotating. And breathing in, breathing out. Good. As you lower that arm back down, we're just going to kind of walk our hands back. Just let your head hang. So now, if you're still okay here, if you needed to come up in between, that's okay, right? Take a little break. But we're just going to hang, maybe hold either elbow and let the crown of the head hang. Good. For most, you're going to want to have bent knees, especially if you have back pain or strain. Three to five breaths. See if you can remember that tapped spot on the crown of your head. Remember how that felt. Bring your attention to the crown of your head, as if breathing through the crown of the head. Like your scalp is breathing. And we might just take ourselves down to the floor and really into child's pose just for a few breaths. We've been hanging upside down, so maybe give yourself a moment in child's pose just to rest. So you could bring the forehead onto your hands. Just feel where that center of the forehead is right now. Just resting the mind as if your mind could just shift to the front side of the cranium and rest there. It actually can. It's loose. The brain is kind of um, can shift around inside the cranium, so it's going to shift forward. Good, and then you might just swing around, coming onto your back for Shavasana. And Shavasana is our completely letting go here. So we brought our attention into all the centers of energy, connection to each of the nerve bundles along the spine. And now we just kind of rest, right? You kind of just let your body absorb those connections. So in a opportunity, just completely surrender. Shavasana is Shava. Shava is a corpse, and asana is a pose. And so we actually practice the stillness of a corpse. So just letting your body heal and rest completely. integrate that chakra awakening or just energy in your body. If you wanted to stay in Shavasana for a while, you could. If you're continuing on with your day, I'll say namaste to everybody that leaves. Let's shift a little bit and start to move into a meditation posture. We'll do a meditation today, um, integrating the energy centers. So just moving slowly with intention and awareness of your movement. If you're coming to a meditation posture, just sitting up nice and tall and finding your comfortable seat. And we'll be using dharma chakra mudra today, which is a mudra to fully integrate all the qualities of just being human and connecting to our entire body. So lengthening upwards through the spine. And also just feeling again the sense of the the perineum connected or touching or grounded on the earth, your bolster, blanket, whatever that is. Feeling that sense of the base of your body touching the earth. Maybe closing the eyes and just softening, right? Feeling that gentle compassion of letting go. Beginning to notice our breath just moving in through the nose and out through the nose. And the ways the body moves slightly with each breath. Subtle movements. And we're gonna touch the thumb to the index fingers on both hands. And the other three fingers extended gently. The left hand gonna be held just below the solar plexus, facing inwards towards ourselves. The right hand will be facing outwards, just just above the solar plexus. And the tips of the thumbs and index fingers are connecting right hand to left hand, right at the solar plexus. And the top three fingers extended, bottom three fingers extended. So you might close your eyes as you relax through your shoulders. Just kind of sense this positioning of our body and our hands. Sense the breath. How the movements of the breath are shifting as we hold this mudra. Any thoughts, feelings, or sensations that arise, let me just let them pass through. You might notice that this mudra not only illuminates the lower body, but can illuminate the upper body as well. And the qualities of the chakras are right to be here, are right to feel, are right to take action, are right to give and receive love, are right to speak truth, are right to see truth, are right to know. And so you could stay with the mudra, or if you want to just move into silent meditation, stay there. I set my timer for about 15 minutes. If you'd like to stay for silent meditation. a good day, everyone.